So we'll do even more next time. The offense went completely MIA Milwaukee. Over the 3-game series, the Guardians scored 4 runs. They had 13 hits total. They were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position, left 14 runners on base. It's tough to win against anybody when you hit like that, especially a good team against Milwaukee. Do you attribute the lack of offense to really, really good pitching from the Brewers, or just a bad weekend with the bats for the Guardians?
Well, you got to give Milwaukee some credit. They did pitch well.
They have a tremendous pitching staff.
But wait a second. Colin Ray is Ben Lively, who pitched yesterday. Colin Ray.
Yeah.
He's Ben Lively.
Yeah. Okay, well, Lively's had a pretty good year.
I'm just saying, like, he's a career journeyman.
Yeah.
Who's come out of nowhere.
But if you
Aaron Savali's been terrible, and he pitched great on Friday. Freddy Peralta, who's been a really good pitcher, is not having a great year. Now, the Brewers have a little bit of magic on this team. They had it with Craig Counsell. They got this. Counsell's gone, and now the new manager's got this little bit of I don't know what it is.
I think they're a very smart organization.
They're an extremely smart organization, so there's a lot of things at play here when it comes to the Guardians' offense. What's your first observation about you giving the pitching credit more than?
No, I was pissed off watching the games all week.
It was awful.
Yeah,
awful to watch.
And I think Savali had a little extra. Like he's not having a good year, but obviously you're motivated.
Yeah.
You're having a great year last year, and they traded you, so you want to stick it to them. But it was it was a terrible weekend. The offense looked awful.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in general, Milwaukee throws it very well. Milwaukee has a good pitching staff.
Yes, they got a good pen.
Yeah. So and they haven't been. I think that's the first time they've been swept all year, right? That's the first time the Guardians been swept.
No, they got swept by Arizona a couple weeks during the 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, they did. It was a doubleheader, then they lost the following.
Yeah.
game.
All right. So if it's the
Those
second
were the two.
time,
Yeah.
it's hard to like sweeps happen. It's luckily the Twins lost. It looked like the Twins were going to win again yesterday.
Yeah.
They were up late,
But they're still
and blew it.
They're still. So the Guardians had the best record in baseball for much of the season.
Yeah.
They're now 3 games ahead of Kansas City for the last playoff spot in the American League.
Yeah.
For the 6th spot in the American League. So they're going to make the playoffs probably because I think they're 6 games up on Boston, who's the 7 seed right now. But everything's in peril at the moment. Now the good thing is everybody's been inconsistent since the All-Star break in the American League. Outside of Houston, they're playing really well. Kansas City's won like 4 or 5 in a row here. They'd lost 5 of 7 before that. The Yankees, Orioles, and Guardians had the exact same win total at the All-Star break, and now the Yankees and Orioles have one more win than the Guardians. So they've Guardians have played the worst of the 3 since the break, but not by much. I think the Yankees are like 17-15, and the Orioles are 16-15, and the Guardians are 14-15, something like that.
Right.
But they've all been kind of up and down in the 5 weeks since the All-Star break. There's plenty of time to get going. There's no great team in baseball. There's a lot of good teams, and the Guardians are one of them.
Yep.
But here's the thing that's driving me crazy. We talked so much about the starting pitching, but really it's the bats. The lineup is the biggest problem right now. And Lane Thomas has been awful since they got him. He's batting like 100. He's been terrible. All their guys, like in April, May, and into June, they were ridiculously clutch with runners in scoring position with 2 outs.
And it was somebody different every night.
Yes, and even some of their lower tier guys who didn't have overall great numbers were getting clutch hits. And now nobody's getting a clutch hit. Almost nobody. David Fry, Zach gave me his stats, I want to say since early July. His OPS since early July is under 600. He's been horrible. And Kwan obviously has been pretty bad for a while.
Yep.
None of the other guys are doing anything. John Kenzie, I know, has hit the home runs, but doesn't do much of anything else. Freeman's done nothing forever. Schneeman's done nothing forever. So you have all these holes in the lineup. You made the one trade. It hasn't worked out so far. Meanwhile, you got Manzardo and Valera, who've had a ton of AAA at-bats. Time to bring them up. You have Chase DeLauder, who is their best offensive prospect, who's gotten hot here. Like, do something. I said they should DFA Austin Hedges. I know they're not going to do it.
No, they're not.
I would DFA him and make him a coach immediately. They're not going to do it, obviously. The problem is Fry can't catch right now. But you got to shake up the lineup a little bit. You got to do something. Honestly, and Zach and I were talking about this before, I would put Fry on the injured list because obviously there's something going on. I would send down either Freeman or Schneemann, and I would call up right now Manzardo, Valera, DeLauder, 2 of those 3 guys, and then on September 1st, I'd bring the third guy up of that group.
Yeah.
You got to get some new guys in there. And the thing is, with Freeman and Schneemann and John Kenzie, these guys are not top prospects. DeLauder and Manzardo are their top prospects. Like, I know Manzardo's not been very good lately, but let's see what they got in the big leagues. Call them up. We need some new bats. The same old thing ain't working here.
Right. Schneemann was never Schneemann's never been a prospect.
Freeman was a decent
Freeman
prospect.
was, yeah.
But not as high as these guys. Not as high as DeLauder.
He was top 100. I feel like Freeman was a top 100 guy a couple years ago.
Freeman was.
Yeah.
And so was Rocchio.
I mean,
Ugh,
I've never been a Rocchio fan ever. I mean, it might be time to give Arias another look.
Oh my God!
He's actually playing pretty well.
Yes,
in AAA.
he's hitting it well.
He's gotten too many looks already.
I know.
Why won't they call Manzardo up? Why won't they call DeLauder up? Why won't they call Valera up? What is happening?
The Manzardo thing is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, DeLauder now, DeLauder's a weird one because if you start his clock now, you're burning a year.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Well, no, you're not. You're right. You're not. You're far enough into the season now that he wouldn't burn it. Well, maybe it is time to give him a look.
Well, you're saying, next year they could wait till June.
But
are you trying to win or not?
And that's the thing.
Come on.
You're in a spot now. This is one of the best records in baseball.
Yeah.
This is a team that we have thought all year long, this feels different. This is different.
Yeah.
This team is right there. And I still believe that to be true. The Manzardo thing I can't figure out. I can't figure it out. Like, bring him up. Give him a couple starts a week at first base.
Yes.
Make Josh DH a couple of times a week.
It's enough when he
not
can't
that big of a
DH.
deal.
He's better suck it up.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, especially because he stinks at first base. The White Sox are 30 and 95. That is just insane.
Poor Grady.
It's time to do something. I got to say this to Chris Anthony, and I know the Guardians are going to get pissed off. I never hear from them when I say 100 good things, but I say one bad thing, they get mad at me. We make the phone calls come and all this stuff. Especially when I ask for tickets, that's when they really get mad at me. But are Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff, are they trying to win? Is winning a priority here or not? Because there's no way that these slappies that you got in the lineup are better. And listen, they could call DeLauder up, they could call Valera up, they could call Manzardo up. They might all suck too in the majors. Who knows? The Guardians haven't had much luck with a lot of the young hitters recently.
Yeah.
They might all be terrible. But why would we not try it? 2 of those 3 guys have never been to the big leagues.
Right.
Manzardo, how many at-bats did Manzardo have in the big leagues?
I'll look it up one sec. Hold on.
But to your point about Manzardo, and he's not in the class of Caminero and Jackson Holiday. He's not in that class.
No, he's not.
But Holiday has looked significantly different.
Totally
much
different
better.
player, yeah.
Caminero was okay in a brief stint last year. Now
Yeah.
he's healthy. He's up at Tampa,
Yeah.
hitting the cover off the ball. So it's a lot of times it's you struggle, you go down, you come back up, and you stick.
Yeah.
Maybe he's ready for that.
He was up 80. He had 82 plate appearances.
I don't know that. What else do you need to see from Kyle Manzardo in AAA?
Nothing.
What else is there for him to do
There's
in AAA?
nothing for him to do. You have to call him up. Let's go. And I'm sure they will at some point, maybe in September. But why wait? Don't wait another 2 weeks.
I mean, you're 2 games up in the division, 3 games up from the last wild card spot.
Yeah.
I've thought all along from the 60-game mark, I foolishly declared they're going to the playoffs. That's it. Look at history. History tells you 60 games is a good indicator.
Right.
From where they were at 60 games in, they are going to the playoffs. And I still believe, they're going to the playoffs. But let's not.
But they need to win the division. I mean,
Yes.
I still think they can win the World Series. They're playing poorly right now.
They have a bullpen that can win the World Series.
100%, and they're getting right now. They're getting enough starting pitching. The pitching has been, although Gavin Williams is a big disappointment. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's enough pitching now, certainly for the playoffs with the bullpen, where you can pitch guys almost every day. But you can't have 4 or 5 zeros in your lineup every day. And right now, in addition to all the zeros you already had, David Fry's a zero.
Yeah.
He's, I don't know if it's injury or he was just, obviously he was played way over his head early in the season. But we expected him to cool down, but not. I mean, he's been horrendous.
With what they have right now, Noel needs to be in the lineup every day.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that
he, right.
the presence that he brings.
Yes.
Although I see a lot of Oscar Gonzalez in him.
Or Franmil Reyes.
There's just a lot of Oscar of it's all or nothing. He chases really bad pitches.
Yes, if he can't improve in that area, then he's never going to have a major league career of significance.
Right. But right now he's the best you got. Like he can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Threat.
He can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean he's
you
their
don't
third
have a lot of
biggest
guys.
power threat.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of guys right now who can do that.
No, I'd play him every day, but I mean I got to get some of these other guys up in the lineup. Go ahead,
Before
Mike.
we talk about Gavin Williams, I do want to talk about Gavin, Bybee, and Lively, who pitched this weekend. Kwan's also a name that you guys mentioned has been struggling. His average is down to 316. I mean, we were having the conversation.
He was at 385,
could he
390.
hit 400, which I know was a silly conversation.
It was a silly conversation to have, but
I think there's a chance.
I didn't think he'd be this low. I thought he'd finish at worst 330, 335.
no,
Exactly.
not even. Was he third in batting now in the American
He's
League?
behind Witt and Judge for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who else. He's been in a free fall essentially since that peak when he returned from the injury list.
Yeah.
Can you put your finger on what's not clicking for Kwan in the way it was? His power numbers have been essentially the same pre-injury, post-injury, but the contact, I'm not sure if it's a BABIP issue, but whatever it is, something's not right with Stephen Kwan right now.
You know
I haven't
what?
seen his BABIP.
I think like this is who he can be.
Yeah.
He can be he's never hit 300 in his life. He's only in his third year. And he hit like 298, I think, as a rookie. He slumped a little bit last year. And they came into the season saying, hey, we're going to give up a little bit of contact to get to a little bit more power. Well, he's done that. But he went out on just a mind-bending tear for a while. But if you remove that, I know it's hard to do, but if you remove that, and if you look, if I'd have told you at the beginning of the year Stephen Kwan's going to hit 315 with double-digit home runs, I would sign up for that in a second.
Sure, but what is his batting average since he reached that high point? It's been way below 300.
In the last month, he's 117 at bats. He's hitting 215.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hideous.
But yes, it is. But in a month is a little bit of extended time.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to go through that. So if every year, if he's a 300 hitter with 20 home runs every year, 20,
well,
that's an
all-star.
all-star.
He's not going to get to 20 probably.
Had he not missed a month, he would have.
Yeah, might have. You're right. Stephen Kwan's a nice player. He wasn't as good as the player he was early in the season. He's not that good.
Yeah.
He's good. He's a good player. He's an excellent defender. He's an excellent base runner. He's developed some power now, and I agree. I think he'll be a 300 hitter or around 300. He'll be one of the best hitters in terms of batting average in baseball. Our expectations got too far out of whack because he was just so hot. I think he might have been pressing for a while, too, because, like, once you're batting it, like, for a while, he was the talk of baseball.
Yeah.
When he's batting 390, it's June. Like, hey, can Stephen Kwan hit 400? You start hearing that.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, you start hearing that stuff. And so I think he was pressing. I think he'll bounce back. I bet you the final 6 weeks of the season he hits a lot better. And he'll finish with, I bet you he finishes with a batting average of 330 something.
Hey, if you hit 315 with 20 home runs, you're an all-star.
Especially in this major league.
Yeah, you're an all-star.
Nobody, I mean, there's not a lot of 300 hitters anymore.
No. So
it's insane, by the way, that two insane things right now going on in baseball that probably the average fan is not paying attention to. The fact that Aaron Judge has the most home runs and is second in batting average in this day and age of baseball.
330, 335?
331, 44 homers, 111 RBIs. He has 11 more RBIs than Jose, who's in second. 5 more homers than Ohtani, who's in second. He's 19 points behind Bobby Witt, who's hitting 350, and 14 points ahead of Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's third at 317.
And the other story here is that Shohei Ohtani has a legit chance to become the first player ever to do 50-50. What has he got, 39 homers, 39 steals, Ohtani?
On the season, he has 39 homers and
38 or 39 steals.
I got to go to the expanded stats page. He has 37 stolen
37.
bases.
He's definitely going to become the 6th player, I think, to go 40-40. No, I know it's not a round number. I mentioned this the other day, so it's a weird thing to say.
45.
42-42.
Oh.
Nobody's even done that.
The double Jackie Robinson.
Nobody's done the double Jackie. 42-42. That's in the bag.
45-45's a pretty good shot.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance. He needs 11 homers and 13 steals.
He'll get the steals. If he gets the homers, he'll get the steals.
I think he's going for it.
I'm sure the homers are harder to get than the steals.
Yeah.
If he gets the homers, I promise you he'll get the steals.
Yeah.
He's not going to go 50-47.
It's just crazy how good this guy is.
I know. Best player I've ever seen.
Ever.
I
don't care what anybody says. Now, he's got to do it longer to go down.
I don't know. I think he's already crazy.
I've never seen anything like this.
To pitch the way he can pitch.
The guy's a top 5 pitcher and a top 5 hitter.
He could win the Cy Young and the MVP every year.
That would lock it up. If he ever does that in the same year, Cy Young, MVP, I think the discussion's over. It has to be.
Well, there have been pitchers who have won the Cy Young and the MVP, but they've won the Cy Young.
But that's different.
Yeah, right.
To win it, the MVP as a hitter and the Cy Young as a straight pitcher.
He did win the MVP already, but he didn't win the Cy Young.
No,
yet.
But I mean in the same season.
It'll be interesting to see how good he is pitching coming off the surgery next year.
Right.
But I mean, he's just ludicrous.
Speaking of pitching, you mentioned Gavin Williams a second ago. He was coming off a terrific
That was
start.
a real disappointment.
And this most recent one against Milwaukee just not up to par from what the Guardians need from Gavin Williams.
The 3-run homer killed him.
Yep.
If he doesn't give up the 3-run homer.
Was it Adames?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was Adames.
That guy's been hot as hell.
If he doesn't give that up, there's 2 outs, right? If he gets out of that, I mean, ifs and nuts
it's not
are
good
candy
enough,
and butts.
They need him. He's 1 start good, 1 start bad right now.
Yeah, I know.
Now, it's not Bieber. Bybee pitched great.
Yeah.
Pitched good
Very
the next
well.
day.
Yeah.
And Lively bounced back after 2 straight bad starts. So overall, they pitched well in the series. But that was disappointing. I wanted to see him follow up that great start with another great start.
He's been back, what, a month now?
A little more than that.
Over a month because I saw him pitch against San Diego after the All-Star break, and that wasn't his first start back.
Yeah, he came back right before the All-Star break,
I
think. He didn't
All
have
right, so about 6 weeks. He's probably about 6 weeks back.
Yeah, something like that.
It's time.
Now's time. I mean,
they need him right now.
Yes.
He's got probably about 4 or 5 starts left.
There's 38 games left.
Oh, he's got more than that. 7.
7.
Yeah, he's probably got 7 starts left.
Zach said today, and I agree with him, the floor's been raised for the rotation.
Oh, for sure.
Which is important.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't feel like the crisis that it felt like a month ago.
And you feel like right now you have a chance to at least get an adequate start with all their starters every time they go out.
I'm still not convinced about Matthew Boyd.
I'm not at all.
But
he's pitching tomorrow in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Well, wear a helmet.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Although the Yankees, they've been inconsistent too. They blew a game, that Little League game. Did anybody watch that last night?
I did, actually.
I wanted to. I didn't.
I didn't see the end of the game. I went to bed before the end of the game.
I did too, but it's cool they integrate the Little League stuff.
It is so cool the way they do that.
I wanted to bring this up before we move on to this rule proposal, at least Major League Baseball is considering. But Jeff Passan, Cleveland guy, tweeted this out yesterday. Steve, you could take tag board, but it only shows you half the tweet. I want to read this full thing because it's interesting. Jeff tweeted out, "This is shaping up to be the weirdest baseball season in a decade with 6 weeks left. Here are the dozen best records in Major League Baseball. The Phillies are 1 game ahead of the Dodgers, Orioles, and Yankees, 1 game ahead of the Guardians as well." Then he goes on to talk about the best run differentials in baseball. You can't see this because
Royals are number 2 behind the Yankees.
They are, and if Social News Desk was better, I would show you it, but Social News Desk is a piece of you-know-what, so I'm just going to tell you what it is. The Yankees are first in baseball, plus 116. The Royals second, plus 109. Brewers third, 106. Phillies fourth, 102. Dodgers fifth, 101. Orioles sixth, plus 90. Guardians seventh at 78 runs above the run differential. They go on yada, yada, yada. But here's the interesting part. The best team in Major League Baseball is on pace for 95 wins this year. The last year without a 100-win team was 2014. Similarly, the last time the top run differential in baseball was less than plus 231. Mind you, the Yankees first in baseball at 116.
Half that.
The last time it wasn't 231, also 2014. It's barely half at the moment. Jeff summarizes the tweet with, all of which to say is this: after a year where a 90-win wildcard team faced an 86-win wildcard team in the World Series, the 2024 championship looks as up for grabs as it ever has. Do you guys like the parity in baseball like this?
I do.
I love it.
Very much so,
Yeah. I was just going to say that it feels, and who knows if this is a one-year anomaly or if this is what's to come. I don't know how we would gauge that. Like we've talked about the parity in the NBA, that's here to stay. That's not going away.
Right.
NFL, it's built that way to have this type of parity. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I love it in baseball. Everybody's got a chance. We sat here 10 minutes ago and said the Guardians can win the World Series this year. I wholeheartedly believe that. Yeah, they have flaws. They got problems. So is everybody else on that list.
Yeah,
this is a team that can win the World Series
There's
this year.
nobody that's unbeatable at all. Or I thought the Dodgers would be lights out this year. They've had so many injuries to their pitching staff.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. The teams that have the huge payrolls, like the Dodgers and Yankees, with steroids out of the game, at least in theory, those teams always have so many older players that they always deal with more injuries than some of the other teams that have younger teams. Like the smaller market teams have to do more with younger players.
Yeah.
In general, you're less likely to have injuries with younger players. That's why the Dodgers and Yankees have had so many injuries the last few years. That's a big part of it because they're old teams. And also, while it's tricky for a team like the Guardians because they refuse to spend more than they do. As big as the payroll is for the Yankees, and they're not even the biggest, like the Dodgers and the Mets, but the elite players get paid so much money that the even teams like the Yankees and Dodgers and Mets have now, instead of having like a superstar, they try to save money in other spots. And so they have a lot of those big market teams are studs and duds. Now, listen, the Yankees are almost always in the playoffs. Same for the Dodgers, same for the Phillies. The Mets, not as much. But it's not like those teams have the Yankees haven't won the World Series in a long time.
I know.
Dodgers' only World Series in the last 40 years was the COVID year.
Yep.
The Mets haven't won since '86. So I think even though the numbers are out of whack, I think there are more teams, not the Guardians, unfortunately, spending to the middle. I think there's a lot of really smart GMs on the middle and small market teams. I think the major market teams take too many old players, and that's all contributed to this. And just the amount of injuries in general, it has made it more competitive. I think it's here to stay. It was the case last year. There's no team that could win the World Series this year that would shock me. In the National League, there's going to be one or two teams, the last two teams, maybe a little bit. In the American League, if you told me the Royals won the World Series, I wouldn't tell you're crazy.
They would not be one of my top 5 picks.
Agreed. But you're going to say it's impossible?
No.
They got Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo at the top of the rotation. Those guys have been fantastic. Bobby Witt is incredible. Salvador Perez, great player. Pasquantino, top of their lineup's good. They got some holes like the Guardians.
I think their bullpen's going to wind up costing them.
Yeah, but they got some reinforcement. Yes, their bullpens. That's the big gap between them and the Guardians.
Yeah.
The Guardians' bullpen is a lot better. I think the Royals' rotation is better than the Guardians, but not by as much as the Guardians' rotation is better than the bullpen.
Yeah.
But the Royals did add some guys at the deadline, so their bullpen's not as bad as it was early in the season. I'm just saying they're competitive. The Twins are competitive. Now, if they play the Yankees, we know what happens there. But certainly the Guardians can win the World Series. Certainly the Astros can win the World Series. The Yankees, we know, can. Hopefully they won't. We know, the Orioles are really good. But look, Corbin Burns just got smoked the other day.
Yeah. I was trying to think how many times in my lifetime did I really think the Guardians/Indians truly could win the World Series? It's not many.
No.
Did
you think they could win it in 16 when the playoffs started?
No. They had too many injuries.
I know. I didn't think so either.
In 97, I didn't think they could. They didn't have a very good team in 97.
No. Meanwhile, in 17, I thought they could.
I thought they could in 17.
Out early.
95, yes.
Yes.
17, yes. At this point in the season.
Right.
Before the playoffs even began.
Sure.
95, I thought they could win the World Series. Did not think that in 97. Did not think that in 16. Did think that in 17.
Didn't think that in 12.
Didn't think that
What
in
about
12.
the other years in the 90s and the early 2000s? You didn't think?
96, yes.
Yeah.
When they lost to Baltimore in the first round.
Right.
I did think in 96. I don't remember 98 and
Any
99.
of the Sabathia Lee years?
That might be it.
Yeah.
95, 96. I didn't think that in 97. I don't remember 98 and 99.
Yeah.
16. I'm sorry, 17.
Yeah.
And this year. That might be it.
Right.
Were
22,
you
didn't think they could win the World Series.
I mean, when you get to the playoffs, you never know if things
Yeah, right,
break,
sure.
they're right. But at this point in the season, going into September, going into the stretch run, into the pennant race, could this team viably win the World Series? It's been less than 5 times in my lifetime.
Right.
And this is one of those years.
And
I absolutely believe it.
And to be fair, a big part of that is, even though there's probably like the 2017 team, 2016 team even was better than this team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? But the competition seemed better then.
Yeah.
This year, there's nobody that's that
Mike
impressive.
just showed the graphic from passing. There was those top 7 teams, I think, are separated by 3 games right now.
And they're all playing
Look at
around 5.
3 games, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 teams separated by 3 games.
To Bull's point, they're all about 500 since the All-Star break.
Right. Maybe not the Dodgers. They've probably been a little better than that. No? Dodgers also?
Paston went on to say it's about all.
Yeah.
Everyone's around
I think all of those teams are around 500 since the All-Star break. They've all been up and down.
Where's Philly's payroll? Because you got 2 behemoths there. You got 2 behemoths in the Dodgers and the Yankees. Philly's up there, but I don't think they're in that stratosphere. But I haven't paid that much attention.
I would bet their payroll's over $200 million.
According to Spotrac, Philly has the 4th highest payroll in baseball, $246 million.
All right, it's higher than I thought.
What's the top 10?
Mets first.
Can you put that graphic back up while you read that?
Yeah. You want top 10 payrolls?
Yeah.
Mets first.
Yep.
Yankees second. Houston third.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Philly fourth.
That's misleading because the Dodgers pushed off all that money. But
Yeah, the Dodgers are fifth. If you turn Ohtani's $2 million into 70, they'd be second.
Right.
So they're fifth,
All right,
but they're
but
second.
3 of the top 5 on that list so far.
Braves are 6. Cubs are 7. Rangers 8. Toronto 9. And the Giants 10.
So 3 teams.
And if you scroll down,
yeah.
19 Twins, 20 Royals, 21 Brewers, 22 Orioles, 23 Guardians.
Wow.
Guardians are 23. I thought they were lower than that.
According to Spotrac, what I'm looking at.
So 4 teams are 19 through 23.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yep.
And 3 of the top 5. Now, and there's other teams below those top 7 that I think are pretty close too, right? Like that was the top of the tweet.
Yeah. Right.
But still, I mean, the top 7 teams in baseball separated by 3 games.
Yeah.
3 of them are the top of the league in spending. 4 of them are middle to
Are
lower
19
tier.
to 23.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, money. The biggest thing the high payroll does is it allows you to make up for mistakes. You screw up, you can
Cover it.
And it allows you to re-sign all your guys that you want to.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's really just that's what was so frustrating to me about the Lindor thing. If you want to go back a couple years.
Yeah.
They did everything right. They nailed the pick. They developed him. They turned him into a star. And then you don't retain him.
Right.
And you can say you can't or whatever.
Yeah.
They were not able to retain him. That's the most frustrating part about when you do everything right and you still can't keep your guy.
Yeah.
That's the most frustrating.
By the way, at the end of that first year after that trade, there were an awful lot of people crowing that the Guardians got the better end of that trade.
I was one of them.
Yeah,
I was one of them.
I mean, Lindor, listen, he hasn't
Been
been
on fire lately.
He's not as good as he was at his best here. But overall with the Mets, even though he hasn't made an all-star game, he's been a borderline all-star.
Yeah.
Whereas Jimenez had one great year, and then he's just a defensive player.
So you hope that if it was in there once, you can find it again.
Right.
But maybe the move to short will invigorate him next year. I don't know.
I think we'd all rather have Lindor than
for sure.
Jimenez.
I mean, at no point did you rather
Obviously,
have
it's money. But,
At no point would I rather have had Jimenez than Lindor.
there were some fans that were saying that.
I didn't want that.
Yeah.
But I thought that they knocked it out of the park for the parameters that they were dealing under.
Right.
And the fact that they got someone who looked like a comparable replacement.
Yeah.
And they got him to take the deal. It looked like a win of a trade, but at no point did I think Jimenez was a better player than
I mean,
Lindor.
can you imagine if they had signed Lindor and Ramirez?
Oh, yeah.
How much
better
they'd be right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of Lindor's struggles, I think, were also adjusting to New York.
Absolutely.
Anyway, go ahead, Mike.